Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Matt and Dave Gaming Show. I'm Dave.
I'm Matt.
And we are going to be starting in on the Stanley Parable. I have the barest knowledge of how this game is, and I think Matt has even less, if I recall.
I very much have less. Off camera, one of the last times we recorded is I actually got to see just kind of the gist of what this is about.
The start of it, at least.
The start of it. So it's going to be a new experience for me as well. So we're all for it.
Well, here we go. End is never the end is never the end is loading.
So I'm guessing based on the name of this game being the Stanley Parable, I'm assuming we're just going to run with the name Stanley for our character.
Or is
it just
want to name it something? They keep calling him Stanley, but we can.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was the case. So Stanley's off doing Stanley things.
You know, Stanley. I was going to say something that piss off Stanleys of the world, so I won't say it. Patiently waiting. Hey, there we go.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
There it is.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number
427.
427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor.
Look at you at work.
Tell him
Seriously.
how long to push them and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul,
This is pretty close to actually how mine goes. There's some accuracy. The thing that's nice is I can at least do this job from home. Which is nice, but I mean,
something very peculiar.
No, I get you.
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
I'd be
Never
celebrating.
in all his years at
Yeah.
the company had this happened.
like
This
there'd be a couple
complete
coworkers that I might be like really
Something
sad
was
about
very
not
clear.
saying hi, but other than that, it's like
Frozen solid. Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
What if I don't?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hey, look, it's I hate Mondays.
No
bud.
matter how hard Stanley looked,
That's
he
not an
couldn't
old
find
joke.
a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, there's no jump button. Interesting.
that is interesting.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What do we do, Matt?
Let's take the door on the left.
Fuck the system!
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Standing.
I mean, it's a decent break room.
Really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Oh, cool.
Really worth it.
This is when we do the stealth sniper
At
playthrough
this
Stanley
point,
Parable.
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy. It reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this
I
is
love
why
how
everyone
sassy
left.
the narrator
It has to
is.
be.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
That's a sketchy.
Yeah, they're both
looking
kind of
room.
ominous.
Yeah. I don't like that. Hold on, do not lie if you are lying right now. Stop.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
This is how we die really fast.
Yeah.
Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift,
$5,000.
Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. Will cause death.
Yee.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Uh-oh.
Do they have somebody that we care about?
Sounds like it.
I wonder if I could have dropped onto that catwalk.
I don't
Because we were
know.
going over it.
I think you'd probably have to walk off the platform and then walk back on.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside.
Yeet.
To let her back in. But in his eagerness to prove that he is an and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged
The
to his
Stan
death.
Yeet Parable.
Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
There we go. Oh, let's get back to that. Hey, look.
Start back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
Groundhog
he was
Day.
already missed
Yeah.
out.
Do we go left this time?
Yeah, we can go left
Yeah,
this time
When
since we
Stanley
explored a
came
little
a
bit
set
to the
of
right.
2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Like dead bodies.
Yeah, seriously.
411. Was there a room 420? I would laugh at that.
I don't
I
know
think
if
we
we
missed it,
did
though.
catch that
Yet there
before.
was not a single person here either.
Do not alter
Feeling
without
waves of
consulting
disbelief,
whiteboard manager.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
Financial
office,
panic
hoping he might
meeting,
find an
office
answer there.
efficiency, legal bosses inspections. What to do about 432?
Group 40X, Group 41X, Group 42X. Office
Interesting.
party on Friday.
Hey. Interesting.
Everyone is unique. You most of all. Bi-quarterly post-review review. We need
Less reviews. 402.
more/less
The
reviews.
death sport portion in the primary review schedule, but I think that's a stupid idea. More water coolers, more water cooler heaters. Be more
Charts need
hip
to be more hip to
to teenage demographic.
Find teenagers to put in teenage demographic.
Big
nets.
net.
Sort of child trap. Work harder, hard worker.
This is what throw something in the ideas bin.
I get it. No more bins.
Trash
Try
can.
cans.
Renaming of the ideas bin. Firing of me. Some of these notes on these are hilarious.
Ooh, there's a slideshow. What are your dreams for the future? Nature. Talk radio.
Mitosis. Comatose.
Jeez.
Good
Pollution was
Lord.
on there too.
Do unbelievably amazing work
Sorry.
all the time, every day, with no expectation of promotion. Or don't get fired.
How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it ball up inside you, take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Resent coworkers for not supporting you. You should slide to assure employees that everything's okay. Make sure your slide has a slick graphic in the header and there's some bevel on all the text.
Good Lord. What is hot? Profits, profits, profits,
yeah.
profits, profits.
To do, synergize, core value, expenditures. Shift Global Market Parade. Monetize, free to play. Off we go.
Now, do we go up the stairs or do we go down the
Probably gonna
stairs?
be the question, but is he in the broom closet? Oh,
Whoa!
looked.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
That's a nuclear bit there.
That's, yeah.
Can I grab any of this?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Okay,
No
whatever.
reason to still be here.
I'll leave the door open like a jerk.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Not even asking you this time, Matt.
Right? Honestly, I
thought that was blood on the wall. for a
wouldn't.
second
Yeah,
there.
I was about to get real bad.
Like,
Somebody's
But Stanley just couldn't do
car.
it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
Somebody
And
cast
as
eerie
Stanley pondered
interlude.
this, he
Yeah.
made other strange observations.
joke.
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Automatically behind him wherever he went. And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it.
What the fuck?
Dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream.
What the fuck? What the fuck, dude?
Finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone.
I don't think
He
Matt
wasn't
likes
out
this
of
game,
his
guys.
job. He wasn't crazy after all.
No. What?
What? Buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
What the actual
Himself
fuck?
soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared.
Ooh.
It was so much fun.
What?
And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he
What
was
the
sleeping,
actual
he had to take
fuck?
responsibility for it? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oh
Stanley
no.
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me
I'm a real boy.
I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What? What?
She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that
Folks,
day.
Matt has a look of disbelief on his face right now. It's
whose
lovely.
impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension,
What?
the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Apparently that was the Stanley Parable. Not really. And we're back.
All of his co-workers were gone.
I think before we try and go the other way and do some more exploring, I think we can call it an episode.
I think it's a pretty good place to stop for now. Sounds good to me. Have a good one, guys.
See you next time.
Matt's mind will be put back together by the time we do the next episode.
No kidding.
Bye, guys.